This video is sponsored by Skillshare. The first 500 people to go to skl.sh/polyphonic16 will get 2 months of Skillshare for free. On July 3rd, 1973, David Bowie took the stage for one of the most important concerts of his career. In front of 3,500 people, Bowie announced that this would be the last show he and his band would play together.
Not only is it the last show of the tour, but it's the last show that we'll ever do. Thank you.
Though the audience didn't know it, Bowie himself would return to the stage just a year later. He wasn't signing off his career, he was killing off his legendary persona, Ziggy Stardust. The last moments of Ziggy Stardust's life were a beautiful, painful rendition of rock and roll suicide. 42 and a half years later, on January 10th, 2016, David Bowie himself shuffled off this mortal coil. 3 days before his death, Bowie released his final farewell to the world, the music video for Lazarus. Both Rock and Roll Suicide and Lazarus prove to be reflections on Bowie's life, and they help us get a glimpse into Bowie's mind at these pivotal moments. Let's take a closer look. Rock and Roll Suicide was first released in June 1972 as the closing track to the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. It provided a conclusion to the rough story David Bowie told on that album. It's Ziggy Stardust's final moments, washed up and exhausted from life as a rock star. In his last performance, Ziggy Stardust sings a final message to his fans before disappearing forever. Of course, Bowie would echo that story in real life at his Hammersmith Odeon show. I think it's easy to forget where Bowie was at this point in his career. By the summer of 1973, he had already released 6 studio albums. He was 26 years old, while young by most standards, already aging by the rock star standards of the time. From those 26-year-old eyes, Rock and Roll Suicide is an exhausted reflection on a life well lived. Lyrically, it opens on a phrase that echoes Manuel Machado's poem, Chants Andalous.
Puts it in your mouth.
Time is personified here as an old friend, lighting your cigarette as you prepare for the inevitable. It also speaks to the way that time can wear you down, force you into substance abuse. Bowie seems to be sitting in a calm state of reflection, a liminal space between now and then. He looks back on memories of his youth, stumbling home after late nights trying to avoid the sun. He talks about ignoring the sound of the milk truck signaling morning.
Don't let the sun blast your shadow. Don't let the milk float drive your mind.
It's Bowie's youth, but it's a moment that most people have had in their adolescence. Walking home as the town is just stirring, exhausted and lonely, but with a kind of halo floating around you. It seems here that Bowie is not just reflecting on his own life, but talking to his legions of young followers. When you watch his final performance, it feels like an intimate conversation Bowie is having with his fans. Gaunt and made up, he gazes out at the crowd.
Religiously unkind.
Musically, Bowie wanted this song to fit midway between 1950s rock and roll and traditional French pop. He captures that vibe perfectly with a lilting 12/8 rhythm, quiet in the beginning but building with the addition of more guitars and a horn section. You can also hear shades of the show tune You'll Never Walk Alone in the song. One of the biggest influences, both musically and lyrically on Bowie, was Jacques Brel. This comes through in the chorus, which is lifted from the dark cry of Brel's Jeff. In that song, Brel sings, "No Jeff, t'es pas tout seul." No Jeff, you're not alone. Instead of singing about a single person though, Bowie is singing to his fans, to his younger self.
Oh no, love, you're not alone.
He sings that he was hard on himself, wishing he could show this younger Bowie all he knows now. It's a plea to remember all you have around you, no matter how the darkness claws at your mind. Bowie understands and empathizes. He's had his share. He wants to help his listeners, his audience, his younger self, shoulder the pain.
You're not alone!
And it ends with a triumphant moment of love and acceptance, written by his then wife, Angie. Give me your hands, 'cause you're wonderful. As Ziggy Stardust reaches his final moments, he looks outwards to those he touched, leaving them with a message of hope. In a lot of ways, the final message Bowie gave to his fans on Lazarus was similar. He wrote Lazarus for a musical of the same name while he was fighting cancer. Though Bowie was actually in remission when he wrote the song, he's clearly wrestling with mortality in it. Producer Tony Visconti even described Lazarus and the rest of Bowie's Black Star album as a parting gift to his fans. And structurally, Lazarus is similar to Ziggy Stardust's Final Gift. Both songs open on Bowie's current state, looking at where he is in the world before moving on to a reflection of his past, and finally to a last hopeful message accompanied by a musical swell. In the beginning of Lazarus, Bowie places himself clearly among the dying. In the opening lines, it seems like he's talking directly to his fans from beyond the grave. Look up, he's in heaven.
I'm in heaven.
It's an echo of the moments in Rock and Roll Suicide, sitting alongside time, alongside death, looking down on the world. Even in these moments though, Bowie sings that he has drama that can't be stolen. You'll never be able to take the life he lived away from him. Even in death, you'll never be able to take the echoes of characters past, of a dozen reinventions from Bowie. But the flip side of that is that everybody knows him. He's splayed out in public for all to see, laid bare even in death. In the second verse, Bowie sings of the psychological impacts of being on death's doorstep.
I'm so high it makes my brain whirl.
Then he drops his cell phone down below, leaving the material world, leaving his attachments to all those he knew. The musical Lazarus was written for is based off of one of Bowie's mini characters, Thomas Jerome Newton, from the film The Man Who Fell to Earth. Much like Ziggy Stardust, Newton is an alien who came to Earth and ended up beaten and defeated by humanity's vice. Where Rock and Roll Suicide reflects on Bowie's youth, Lazarus reflects on his fame. He sings that he was living like a king in New York. Bowie would adopt New York as his home and ended up dying there. It's a moment of reflection on the excesses of his career, and it leads to his ultimate conclusion. Where Rock and Roll Suicide opened on a possible reference to a poem, Lazarus ends on one. Bowie sings that he'll be free, just like that bluebird. Bluebird is a poem by Charles Bukowski. It's about the pressures of living a public life, the struggles of trying to be your true self under the gaze of the modern world. Bukowski writes that he doesn't want anybody to see his bluebird. In the second stanza, he talks of how he tries to kill this bluebird with substance. This is relevant to Bowie's lifelong struggle with addiction. Perhaps most notably, Bowie fell into a deep period of mental illness and cocaine addiction during the making of Station to Station. In that period, he assumed one of his darkest identities, the Thin White Duke. In the video for Lazarus, Bowie makes an appearance in an outfit he wore as the Thin White Duke. As a blindfolded Bowie dies on a hospital bed, the Duke creeps out of a closet, writing a maniacal message. It seems to be a reflection of the struggles Bowie has, the way his characters could take over his life, keeping his real self, his bluebird, deep inside. And as Bowie approaches his death, he realizes that he's finally going to be free of all of it, for better or for worse. Part of him is ready to accept his fate, but if you watch the video, you can see that he's still pained, still scared. This is a farewell unlike Bowie has ever faced. In order to take on this final farewell, Bowie had to look back on his career, look back on the many deaths he had faced before. And by doing so, Bowie was able to create one final piece, a farewell for his fans, and an epitaph to echo throughout the ages. David Bowie is a really important figure to me, so I tried to pull out my best editing stops to do him justice in this video. If you want to learn to edit like I do, a great starting point is Jordy Vandeput's course, Video Editing with Adobe Premiere Pro for Beginners on Skillshare. In that course, you'll learn the basics of editing with the very same software I use to create my videos. And that's just the beginning. Skillshare offers thousands of courses on a whole range of topics. Whether you want to step up your cooking game, learn to play music, or improve your personal finances, Skillshare is the best place to learn a new skill online. Premium membership gives you access to more than 25,000 classes, and now you can try it out absolutely free. The first 500 people to go to the link in the description will get 2 months of Skillshare free of charge. So why not go check out Thomas Frank's Productivity Masterclass and learn how to get the most out of your time. And remember to use my link so that you get 2 months free and so Skillshare knows that I sent you.